Welcome to the New Dad Rock.
Steve, last week, on the day our latest episode came out, the Country One featuring Orville Peck. That was our single biggest day ever.
And now we've been played on 4 continents, 17 countries. I did not expect that.
What, you didn't expect the country episode to be our biggest episode?
No, people from 17 different countries would listen to this podcast that we started less than 2 months ago.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. Hey, last week we started talking about Willie Nelson and how it was hard to get into him and that I never really listened to him. But he has like his 70th album coming out.
I didn't realize it was his 70th album. I know it's called First Rose of Spring, and there are at least 3 or 4 singles out. I think the album was delayed, so they've been dripping out songs, including the title track, which is pretty awesome. Yep. Another one about he's the only devil his mama ever raised.
Yes. Yeah. Here's the thing, and maybe it's part of my not so excitement about Willie Nelson is he co-wrote 2 of the songs on this album, and then the 10 songs are like covers.
Like recent covers or from all eras? Do you have any idea?
It could be from whenever, dude. Yeah, they're not contemporary. It's not like a Weird Al Yankovic album where like it's the pop songs from last year. No, this is like it could be from whenever.
And are they well-known songs in the country realm? Since as I discussed last week, I am not well versed in the entire country genre.
They're not well known to me because I don't listen to Willie Nelson, so I don't know.
But you said they're covers; they're not Willie Nelson songs, so that's
I know that because I read it. But the songwriter on 10 of the 12 tracks is credited to someone else. That's not him and his friend, who's his engineer, who records them.
Got it.
Check this out though. I subscribe to one guitar magazine. It's called Premier Guitar. And it's like the guitarist talking about how they make albums and the instrument they play on. So it's basically like 4 or 5 people get interviewed. There's always like a heavy metal or death metal one. And there's always
and they nerd out on their guitar.
To some degree, but also the recording process and the songwriting process. But it is geared toward the guitarist. Anyway, Willie Nelson was in last month's issue. And I learned about his guitar, which made me like him so much more. So his guitar is named Trigger. He got it in 1969. It's a nylon Martin guitar. And he plays it so much. And there's no pick guard. He's playing with his fingers. And he plays hard and crazy sometimes. But basically, there's holes in it. So he has to get it repaired like once or twice a year. And there's videos on YouTube. And I've watched at least 2 of the videos, dude. Where it's the guy showing you how he repairs this guitar. And this guitar literally has holes on the front of it. I'm like, I don't know how it makes music. I just don't know how Trigger stays tuned in.
Like, you're tuned in to the New Dad Rock?
Tuned in? What are we, old-timey radio show hosts from the 50s or something?
No, tuned in, like tuned in. Tune. Tuned.
No, I don't. Have you heard me sing? I don't know tune. Okay, so tuned. Antenna, like a TV?
It could be. Like I said, you're tuned into the New Dad Rock. And you know what, Keith? Speaking of tuned in, you can tune into a TV with an antenna.
Oh, seriously? I don't think you can do that anymore. I thought there was some proposition in California where, people don't have those antennas anymore. Okay. I don't...
All right, so, think antenna, travel back in time, 27, 28 years, and picture, if you will, a girl with antenna on her head, which completes the bee costume. As you look down, you see a one-piece leotard, black and yellow stripes, and the antenna on her head, and bee wings. The girl is a bumblebee.
And
she's dancing around on your TV. A TV that may have had an antenna, mind you, because this is like 1992, 93.
Okay, I get it. Is this about Blind Melon?
Yeah, that Blind Melon video for No Rain. All I can say.
But I was humming it today. Seriously, I was singing it. I was fucking singing it.
It's a good song, but a lot of people might think of Blind Melon as like a one-hit wonder or something.
I don't get why you're so obsessed with Blind Melon. I don't get it.
Because as I tweeted out a week or so ago, Blind Melon is actually way better than you actually remember or even realize.
Okay. Well, until today, I only remember that one song, and I really like it, and it's fine, I guess. But it's, I'm kind of surprised you picked it for a podcast. But then I listened today, and it was not just a one-hit wonder.
First of all, there are other singles on the album. I remember seeing a video for Tones of Home.
I think that's my favorite album. I mean, favorite song.
The favorite song, Tones of Home, all their songs. Because I think their second album, Soup, Soup fucking rules. It is one of the best albums of the 90s, without any caveats or, qualifications.
All right, I'm going to listen to it and report back next week. Seriously, I don't know. I listened to the Galaxy's, is it Hello Goodbye song? It was the first song on Soup, and I don't know. It wasn't my favorite song. All I said was it Tones in the Home or Tone Home or E.T. Tone Home?
E.T. Tones Home, yeah.
I like that song the best.
Yeah, so No Rain, the big hit song that everybody knows, it wasn't exactly representative of their sound. It fits into a normal variation. If you looked at a normal curve, the variation of their songs, it would be an outlier, but it would still, register as a Blind Melon song. 2
standard deviations, not 5.
Exactly. It's, within a 66.7% confidence interval.
Didn't they have a school rock, a schoolhouse rock song like Pavement did?
Mm-hmm. 3 is a magic number. Yeah, it is. It's a magic number.
Dude. Hey, you know what? Do you remember that band Live? They had an album called Mental Jewelry and then another album, and Lightning.
Yeah, that bald guy.
Totally. When I listened to the No Raid album today, I forget what the first album, it actually sounded a lot like the other songs all sounded like that Live album, which I loved. Mental Jewelry.
Throwing Copper?
Wasn't that
totally. One of their albums too?
Yeah, totally. I think that was the EP before, and it might have been a song included on it. It was amazing. But Mental Jewelry did good. Word of the Day apparently is amazing.
Amazing. Hey, did you know that Shannon Hoon, the singer of Blind Melon, sang backup on Guns N' Roses' Don't Cry? Don't you cry.
Really? Like I just did? That's awesome.
Yeah, he, if you watch the video, and I actually did look up the video, there's, there's this total high-budget Hollywood-esque video for the song, but there's pictures of the band interspersed in between these, cheesy shots, and there's an extra guy on the stage, Slash is up there, Izzy Strat, all the guys are up there, and then there's this random guy singing in the background, and that's Shannon Hoon.
Was this off Use Your Illusion 1 or 2 or whatever? Because I swear I had this
one of those.
Dude,
I think the blue one. I think it's on the blue one.
Is that the number 2? Yeah, I totally bought 2 or 3 of the singles on cassette tapes. So you could buy them for literally 99 cents or $1.29
I remember
on
that.
Cassette tapes and cardboard, and you'd play them in your car. I had this one. I didn't know he was the background singer until now. So,
yeah, they were. He was friends with, or I guess his older sister was friends with Axl Rose, growing up. So he was
really?
He was kind of the in there.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, the guy from Twisted Sister was from Massapequa, so you're saying if I knew him and he could have been my Axl Rose?
He could have been, but it just never worked.
What would I have been like? I might have been like this. I might have been like this if I met the guy from Twisted Sister. I don't think I went to this concert, but I believe Blind Melon played at Geneseo in I don't know, 1993 or 94.
It was February. It was February of '94. I definitely went to this concert.
We were living together. This is the year we're living together, I think.
Yeah. Was this the one? Remember my friends?
I probably went. I don't.
Remember my friends from Potsdam came down?
Sure.
I think this was the concert that they came down for.
Oh,
but anyway, it was. I definitely remember seeing Alice Donut and the Meat Puppets, and I did load in and load out for a lot of shows. I could have been sort of working, so I might have disappeared for an hour during the show, and then just came back because I had all access pass and had to actually work.
I was just telling my wife about one of your other crazy jobs, which was didn't you do the movies in the movie theater on Sunday nights in the auditorium?
Yeah, it was the same office at the school. Anything, it seemed AV club related, anything to do with plays. I think I mentioned this. I did the Buddy Holly Story touring company came through, and I helped work the lights to that.
Awesome.
It was crazy.
So my kid's going to a school. My older son is going to a school where they have like seriously the kids run the AV thing, and like, but they have like it's like television grade studio. Anyway, unbelievable. Like I want to go back to 5th grade and actually just like run plays. Like that's the thing I wish I did that I didn't do, which was like be a stage manager or work in like the drama or AV group.
Yeah, well,
anyway.
as you get older, you see all the things. Like I look at the classes that my daughters in high school can take. I'm like, oh my God, I would take all these things. And they don't want to take any of those things that you want to take. Like Mika took a film appreciation class in like 9th grade, and she hated
Dude, I took that in my 5th year of college.
She hated it though. Like she was 14.
So I like looking up set lists. I mean, because we've talked about track order before and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I look up set lists, I watch Fish on a live stream every Tuesday, and it's really cool to just see different set lists. And I went back and I looked, and I couldn't find the set list for the Geneseo show, which apparently was February 20th, 94, like you said. They played the same set list, seriously, almost verbatim every other night that was listed. And there was
verbatim.
They played 100 show. Verbatim. All right. Tomato. So verbatim. But like, they always played No Rain, which is the hit, and this sort of makes sense. I like the placement. I don't know the name for the placement, but it's the one before the penultimate song. Pre-penultimate? But they always play third to last of the original set, which makes so much sense.
Yeah, because, you want to get everybody, they're like, okay, we've sat through 9 songs now, and we want to hear the hit that we know. Mm-hmm. And then, they can sustain that drive through the last 3 songs. Maybe there's an encore. Maybe they whip out some Velvet Underground or Led Zeppelin covers. Like, I really don't remember seeing this show, but having looked up these set lists and seeing that there was a Led Zeppelin cover, that tickled a little part of the inside of my brain.
So that's just crazy. So it makes sense because they totally hit the style, like you said, and it actually made me think about what like the new dad rock means. And I was like, okay, so my dad's dad rock is classic rock, like Steppenwolf and such, and my new dad rock is like this early 90s stuff. So,
well, clearly we've talked about Modest Mouse and PJ Harvey and Pavement. Like, it's all early 90s stuff. I'm sure we'll do an Afghan Wigs episode.
Oh, I get it. So you mentioned a Nirvana connection before. Like
going back to that tour with Alice Donut, and the Meat Puppets were the other opening band. And the Meat Puppets, you may remember from MTV Unplugged Nirvana, totally. 2 guys from the Meat Puppets, and I think Lake of Fire and maybe one other song, or a Meat Puppets song. They had a connection, Meat Puppets, Kurt Cobain, Meat Puppets, Blind Melon. And then the day that Kurt Cobain, not the day that he died, but the day that he was found, so the day like the whole world found out that he was dead, Blind Melon plays the David Letterman show that night.
Hey, do you know where you were when you found out? Do you remember where you were when you found out that Kurt Cobain was dead?
Yeah, absolutely. So Blind Melon plays David Letterman the night that the world finds out Kurt Cobain is dead, and Shannon Hoon comes out, and he came out and he had a giant question mark on his forehead. He didn't know Kurt Cobain at all, but he's kind of like putting it into the universe that maybe this guy's next. And
yeah, I mean, well, he died, and it was overdose, but like, how much later was it? Do we know? I'm sure
it was a year and a half almost. Around the time he died, just before that, they put out their second album. Remember, No Rain is a big hit. They're sort of one-hit wonder. Soup came out and didn't sound exactly like Blind Melon. It definitely didn't sound like No Rain. It sounded like I said before, the Blind Melon of the rest of the album. But people were not happy with it. And Galaxy, I think, was the single you mentioned. You listened to it and you were not impressed by it. Totally. But I mean, to me, there's at least half a dozen like straight up classics, like Mouthful of Cavities, 2x4, Walk.
Yeah. So I can imagine just a sophomore album, man. It's really hard. Like if all these songs came from all these 5 different people over all the years and they put into this one album, like a second album's going to be tough. And you know what? Let's say they achieved what you're saying. Very hard to do because you're trying to write new songs after you spent your whole life writing these other songs. And No Rain is the one song written by the bassist before he met the band. But and then they had another album come out. So they have this first album, which is terrific. This is the one we're talking about, the one they write the book about, right? And they have Soup, which you like, and I haven't heard yet. And then they had an album called Nico or something.
Yeah, so I am shocked that this band, Shannon Hoon died, and they kind of like fizzled out. Usually somebody dies and, not to be morbid, but the band gets more popular. These guys fizzle out, and like a year later, they put out this album, Nico, which is a lot of outtakes, demos, and, the band formed songs around it, and it was more acoustic oriented. Still some great songs on it. Definitely a handful of keepers on there, but it's weird that they fizzled out, which is really unfortunate because they were kind of like lightning in a bottle and people were distracted by No Rain.
Yeah, I just can't comprehend the world they lived in with like MTV being a monopoly on access to youth. So the pressure or the artistic choices you must have made to align to that versus now when it's like, hey, it's on SoundCloud. Well, TikTok.
The other thing is, people don't even realize this was like one of MTV's prime eras of actually playing music and being an influencer. There weren't always...
Alternative music is MTV in my mind.
Yeah, and there was really only a couple years there, and they had Beavis and Butthead and Ren and Stimpy in the same era, and that was kind of like the heyday of MTV. And then shortly, 2 years later, they're doing The Real World, and reality TV took over, and it became a much different place. But it was really influential on music. But anyway, we've spent a lot of time talking about Blind Melon. I think they're awesome. I think anyone who goes out there and checks out some songs, we'll put a playlist in the episode notes for you to check out. You're really going to be surprised. There's a new documentary on Shannon Hoon's life. Apparently, he was like, that guy from Great Neck and Capturing the Freedmans.
A pervert?
No. It's a terrible analogy. We're going to get letters. Okay. No. The weird thing about Capturing Freedmans is they have all this home video footage like the guy took of himself.
For our younger audience, I just got to say that back in the 80s, like, I had a camera in the 90s. No, maybe in the 2000s. Back in the 80s, if you had a camera, it fit on your soldier. It was stupidly expensive, and, like, only a few people had these.
Yeah, and if you had them, you were proud of them. So probably, Shannon Hoon got, like, his first big paycheck, and he goes out and he's like, I'm getting a video camera. And apparently he spent the last couple of years of his life videotaping everything because he was so jazzed that he had this camera. So there are, a lot of, intimate depictions of his highs, his lows, his struggles. And, the doc just came out. I don't know how it's been distributed, but I know it's out as of like the last week in June 2020.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I'm not sure exactly where I could find it. But yeah, I watched the trailer. It was crazy. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Steve, I didn't expect an episode to go so deep on Blind Melon.
I know, right? There is a hell of a lot more to Blind Melon than just No Rain.
Check out Soak the Sin and Change from their first album. You know the one with the Bumblebee girl on the cover? Dude, we weren't supposed to talk. I guess I lose. I talked about the effing Bumblebee girl.
And
you win.
Yeah, thank you. And anyone who listens to Soup, their second album, they win too, because Soup is a freaking masterpiece. Galaxy, Toes Across the Floor, Skinned, so many great songs.
Nico's got Soul One and Life Ain't So Shitty.
Yeah, those are cool songs too. So now you know. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The New Dad Rock. We like you, and you're important.